class. What does it mean? What does it mean to be working class, say, or middle class, or upper middle class, or rich, or a high income earner, or a low income earner? What does any of that actually mean? Does being middle class mean that you have better clothes than a working class person? That you dress better? That you smell better? That you walk better? That you think a certain way? That maybe you're better educated? Well, that can't be true, because our politicians, most of them are middle class, and most of them are stupid and can't run a country. So it can't be that they're clever, can it? Is it a thing of where if you're middle class, you should be watching this, and then someone who's working class should be watching that? So a working class household will watch things like Big Brother, or I'm a Celebrity, or EastEnders on Coronation Street. And a middle class family will read the complete works of Shakespeare, or will read Sherlock Holmes, or will watch Sherlock Holmes, or will watch Doctor Who. And someone who's rich, well, they'll go to the opera every day, won't they? They'll go to the theatre, darling, every day, because they can afford to. But you see, I think if I was middle class, middle to upper class, rich, I think I'd still like the things that I like. I don't think I would ever like opera. I think opera's boring. I hate the theatre because it's arty-farty and stuck up. But I would think that if I was a multi-millionaire several times over. The writer, Mark Gatiss, the man who created the sitcom The League of Gentlemen, co-created Sherlock, and is one of the writers for the modern series of Doctor Who. Mark Gatiss believes that Doctor Who is a middle-class show, and despite the best efforts of the writers and producers and directors and creators of the programme, despite them trying to reach out by creating characters that come from council estates, that come from poor, impoverished backgrounds, that the show will always fall back into solely being a middle-class programme watched by middle-class people. Well, I'm not middle-class. I'm working class. But I don't say it like, oh, I'm working class and I'm proud of it. I don't think anyone wakes up, do they? And the first thing they think of is, oh, look at me, I'm middle class, I have lots of money. Or I'm working class and I have no money. Or I'm rich and powerful and look at me, I can order people around and boss them around. Only politicians think that, don't they? But to sort of suggest that something like Doctor Who, despite its best efforts, would always end up finding itself back in the position of being a middle-class character aimed solely at a middle-class to upper-class audience, I find really, really insulting as a fan of Doctor Who for over 20 years. What I take away from the Doctor is that he is completely outside of such petty little things like class and status. If anything, that's the point of the character. The character, and this is what has always fundamentally stuck with me about the character of the Doctor, he ran away from responsibility. In the Five Doctors, the end of the 20th anniversary special of Doctor Who, he is offered the presidency of his planet. He's offered to be the president of his own people, and he turns it down, and he runs away, and that had such an impact on me, regardless of my status, working class, middle class, rich, whatever. I just thought, yeah, that's something that I would do. You know, regardless if I had all the money in the world, I'd do that. I'd just run away from responsibility. I'm still running away from responsibility. The idea of any responsibility of a relationship, responsibility within the workplace, responsibility to own a car, responsibility to have children. Oh, no, thank you. That terrifies me. Because I take the Doctor Who attitude of going to work or go out for an evening and armed with your wit, charm and personality, try and get through the day. Try and get through the evening. That's what I do. And it's mostly worked for me. But I don't look at the Doctor as a specifically anything other than a good moral character. A character that I've tried throughout my life to be. And sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's hard to be the Doctor. Sometimes it's not easy to be the Doctor. As you get older, life tests you. And sometimes you find yourself more, swaying more to the mindset of a Dalek or a Cyberman or a Sontaran, where you just think, oh, do you know what, sometimes I could just blow up the human race. Sometimes you think like that. But I always try and keep a moral, positive outlook on life. Particularly when times are good. I often find when times are good, it's very easy to be the Doctor. It's very easy to be him, them. Because life's good and it's treating you well. And I think life treats people fairly some of the time and unfairly other parts of the time. But that's not a working class thing. That's not a middle class thing. That's just life. Bad things happen to good people. And unfortunately, good things happen to bad people. But also the reverse. But I don't think that a character like the Doctor is specifically targeted to any one individual. It's targeted to people that, if they want to, can come along, have fun, have escapism on Saturday tea times, and enjoy the show. That's all it's there for. It's not there to... I don't think Doctor Who is there to make any real points other than just be a decent human being. And you can do that regardless of your income, regardless of your status. And I think most people out there are pretty decent. Mostly. Yes, we know that there are some horrible individuals out there. Horrible. But most people are fairly decent if you give them the chance. And I often find that if people are decent, then they'll do the decent thing and they'll watch Doctor Who, damn it. Particularly Stephen Moffat Doctor Who. But seriously though, I'm not trying to make jokes actually. I really feel very strongly about this, very passionate about this conversation. And when I was just reading the interview in Doctor Who magazine with Mark Gatiss today, my friend who made me aware of it earlier this morning, I had instant rage and when my friend told me about it, and then when I read the interview, I felt sad that a writer feels that way, that he feels that the show should really almost give up in trying to specifically target the audience, any kind of audience. Why? Why should it give up? Why should it give up being anything other than what it is, which is a good program? And characters, people don't. I don't think people think that deeply about characters in the sense of where's their background, what's their income. What's the income of Clara Oswin Oswald? How much does she earn as a character? No. All I think of when I see Clara, or Amy Pond, or Bill Potts, is, cool. That's a new companion in Doctor Who's life. They get to go around, have adventures in space and time. I hope they get out of it today. I'm not thinking what's in Bill Potts' bank account. Probably more than me. But then mine might be more than yours. So what? What does it even matter? And programs like Doctor Who are just for everybody. That's what I believe. I believe they are for anyone and everyone who wants to enjoy them whenever they want to enjoy them. That's my take. Yours may be different. You may disagree completely with all this. But I don't understand what the class war even actually is. And maybe I'll get to the end of this podcast and still be none the wiser. Maybe you can educate me on what it is. Because is it a thing of being better? Are you better than me because you've got more money? Or am I better than you because I've got a bigger Doctor Who collection? What does that mean? I don't understand the class war. But I know that I don't like it, whatever it is. I don't like it. And what about this? Say you live on a middle class street in Birmingham or London or Surrey or Manchester or wherever it is. And you and your next door neighbour who live on the same street, and you may even work in the same building. You may even work in the same office. You could be on the ground floor and your next door neighbour could be on the top floor. You're in different departments, but you still see each other around the office block at lunchtime or around the water cooler. But say they earn more than you earn, but they're still living on a middle class street. So does that mean because you earn less than Bob next door that you're working class compared to Bob, and that Bob is middle class? But then what about the person next door to Bob, who maybe is a surgeon or a doctor or a lawyer? Well, they're not middle class. Are they not rich? Are they not a high income earner? So how do you define working class and middle class? How do you define it? I think it's gotten defined in recent years with politics. People thinking that Brexit and the vote for Trump or a vote for Theresa May and a vote for Jeremy Corbyn is somehow a sign of division in this country between the ruling elites and the people, between the high earners and the low income earners. I certainly think it's definitely a slap in the face against the elites, the people at the top of society. And I mean, way up at the top of society. People who haven't got our best interests at heart, but like to pretend they do. Politicians like Jeremy Corbyn, who seem to think somehow that they actually know what it means to be poor, to be homeless, to get your money from a food bank. No. He doesn't know what that's like. He has no clue. He's just, he is part of the 1% that does very, very well out of capitalism, something which he regularly rails against. But he does very well out of the ruling elites. He has a very nice house, a very nice income. So he can no more relate to you or me than Theresa May could. But I don't think that it's a thing of Brexit or Trump or any of that stuff is a sign of people wanting to get at the middle class of Birmingham, London, Manchester or Surrey. It's just democracy, isn't it? Is that all it is? Or am I completely wrong? Is it not democracy in action? Is it not people just saying, well, look, here's an opportunity to vote a certain way, to vote to remain or to leave the European Union, to vote for a Republican in Donald Trump or a Democrat in Hillary Clinton? Is that not what it is? Does it have to be a thing where money and income and status and positions in life actually influence politics? And do they now influence our television shows? Is Doctor Who... Should I not be watching Doctor Who because I'm a lower income earner? But maybe you should be watching Doctor Who because you work in investment banking, or you're a lawyer, or you're a politician. So you should be watching Doctor Who and I should be watching Big Brother. Is that what you're saying? Can I not watch both? Or can I not watch neither? Or can I just watch Doctor Who? Which is all I ever want to do, because it's the greatest show in the universe. Thanks for listening. Comment below. Let me know what you think.